Hi everybody, this is the football head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, the HUD. Welcome back to the football head. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I find these stories sometimes, to me, to be amusing in a lot of ways. To see people that think they have a lot of dignity have to worry about spending money and when they feel like they shouldn't. And then you see these situations where big corporations can't shout a couple bucks for people that made them a lot of money. So this is kind of a funny story to me. It's amusing and it's embarrassing, and really, hopefully some people want to watch a video on it. But this is from FoxNews.com. Bengals great. I mean, how many Bengals are great? He's probably like the greatest Bengal of all time, just like he's the greatest Jet of all time. Boomer Esiason, Norman. And this is not like a insane asylum video. This is more about Boomer, the football player. He was a good player with the Bengals. He's kind of dumb when he's with the Jets, But Bengals great Boomer Esiason says team asked him to cover hotel accommodations for Ring of Honor induction. Well, it must not have been a Ring of Honor for Boomer that he had to shell out some money for this thing. Boomer Esiason is the 2023 Bengals Ring of Honor inductee. Many of the highlights of Boomer Esiason's NFL career happened when he was wearing a Cincinnati Bengals uniform. Esiason, the 1988 league MVP, was inducted into the Bengals Ring of Honor 2 years ago. The team invited him back for this year's festivities, which will welcome a new group of former players to the special club. But Norman revealed that he will need to cover hotel accommodations should he travel to Cincinnati in October to watch the 2025 class induction ceremony. What's Boomer going to do? Esiason played quarterback for the Bengals for a decade over 2 stints. He read an email from the team outlined hotel costs during a recent episode of Norman and Greg, the Norman and Greg radio program. You tell me what this invite is, and then we can discuss it, Norman said to his co-host, Gregory Giannotti. Okay, quote, the Bengals organization is excited to celebrate our Legends community and kindly invite you and the guests to join us in celebrating Dave Lapham and Lamar Parrish on Ring of Honor weekend in October, culminating at our game on Sunday, October 26th, when the Bengals take on the New York Jets. Isn't that interesting? So this is going to be a big deal, especially here in New York. More details are below. We kindly ask you to RSVP no later than Friday, August 22nd. You and the guests can receive 2 complimentary tickets with an opportunity to purchase an additional one if you wish. Oh my God, that's funny. But if you are traveling the weekend from out of town, we have secured a block of rooms at the Renaissance Hotel. Now here's the thing, he mentions the name of the hotel. I shouldn't have done that. Rooms are limited, so please book directly for the early and best rate. We look forward to hosting you in the jungle for an unforgettable weekend. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or another guy on the staff with any questions. Thank you, and Houday. Yeah, I mean, don't forget, you gotta get the best rate. Get it early, best rate. The information was met with apparent surprise as Giannotti questioned who they think they are making you pay for your own hotel room. Gregory also noted that the email appeared to have been directed to multiple individuals. How many people are in the Ring of Honor now? 8? All right, so they should be getting different emails than this generic email, he said. But what's funny is had a little bit of a flutter there, but for a second. But the funny thing is that Boomer is he is the greatest Cincinnati Bengal. And he's got to pay for his own hotel accommodations. That's pretty damn funny. He has to pay up. I guess maybe they feel like, at least with Boomer, he's great enough to win the MVP, but not great enough to have to pay. He lost, of course, legendary Joe Montana. But there are other players that are talking about this, and other, former Bengals. You read from Awful Announcing. Headline, Chad Johnson fails to defend Bengals over Boomer Esiason criticism. Ocho was no match for Sharp on this one, okay? WFAN host and Cincinnati Bengals great Norman Esiason made waves last week when he called out the Bengals over their lackluster invitation to an upcoming Ring of Honor celebration. The former quarterback who was in the team's Ring of Honor received an invitation to the ceremony on October 26th when our offensive lineman Dave Lapham and defensive back Lamar Parrish will be inducted. According to Esiason, the invitation includes a measly offer of 2 free tickets for seats in the stands and a discounted hotel room. So they got free tickets. At least they got that. What do you want? What's Boomer want? But I'm just saying, if I don't go, there's a reason why. Boomer said, maybe it's just my elitist attitude toward things. I'm not sure. I love my Bengal fans, but, and this is what Boomer said, reveals how meager the Bengals amenities will be for Ring of Honor ceremony this season. This is from ofHonor. They posted this. But, let's see. In terms of how fans felt about that reveal, there were 2 camps. On one side were those who felt the Bengals, an NFL franchise valued at approximately $5.5 billion, could splurge on a suite and hotel room for one of its most iconic players. He is their most iconic player. I can't think of any other player that played for the Bengals that was this great there. On the other side were those who felt that someone with the wealth of Esiason presumably should suck it up and pay their own way. Chad Johnson, a fellow Cincinnati Bengal legend, attempted to defend the franchise during a recent episode of Nightcap. However, it didn't take much pressuring from co-host Shannon Sharp and regular guest Joe Johnson to undercut his argument. Okay, let's see what they had to say. Now, please, of course, subscribe and like this video and leave comments, too. Not only did Sharp and Johnson get the former Bengals wide receiver to admit that he almost certainly had to front the money for his own visits to games, but they rattled off several events and ceremonies with the owners of their respective franchises went out of their way to cover all costs for not just them, but friends and family. Oh, God. I mean, you can't, and here's the thing, Boomer can't bring more than one guest. You can only bring his son. That's funny. Or bring his wife. Boomer, you can bring your wife, but, you can't bring anybody else. Hey, Boomer, you can bring your son, but you can't bring anybody else. That's cheap. That's cheap. And that's not elitist. If you've put money into their company, and this is a company, I think it's only fair that they pay for the course. Like these articles said, how many players do the Bengals have that are really, really great? 8. And I don't even know how many years the Bengals have been around. 60 years. They have 8 great players. They can't flip the bill for Boomer of all people too. Boomer's, you can talk about whatever he was, whatever he is as a broadcaster, on WFAN. But as a player, especially with the Bengals, he's a great player. There's no reason for him. How do you treat your players? As a Mets fan, we saw for many years that the New York Mets did not treat their players all that great with the Wilpons in charge. And you saw it. It really has it's a real disconnect with the fan base too. Because the fan base want to see these old players come out and, wave and tip their caps and, whatever. It's a nice thing. So what if Boomer was older? What if Boomer was 85 years old and he had to do this? Think about it. What if Boomer was elderly? He's not elderly, but what if he was 85 years old instead of 65 years old, and he had to do that? He had to pay the accommodations, and he's retired. It's only fair. Again, how much money did he make this franchise playing for them and getting them to their only Super Bowl? It's not Boomer's fault that they lost. I joke around about Boomer a lot, losing to Joe Montana, but it's Joe Montana. One of the great quarterbacks and winners in the history of the NFL. You can't blame Boomer. Boomer had a great game. He would have won the MVP. Boomer had a great game against the 49ers, but he didn't. The game wasn't over with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. It's not Boomer's fault. Boomer had a great year. And there's no reason for the Bengals not to spend money for these players. Again, they're the ones that made their franchise as valuable as it is, and it's just only right to pay for all their meals. The fans love it. Pay for their accommodations, pay for the hotel, pay for the car service. Don't let the players drive. Don't let them do any of that stuff. Treat them like gods and kings. The kings that they were on the field, they should be treated like that when they're retired. Especially when they've done as much as they've done like Boomer has for this franchise. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Football Hut. And I'll see you later.